recorded, so you can go back and re-watch it. Today we're going to go through LinkedIn messaging. I'm going to go through some strategy, and really, in the past I've done some webinars really going over the strategy you want to have in place so that you can utilize the tool efficiently. Today is going to be more about what you should be posting, what types of messages, how frequently, types of that type of strategy. So, just to review some of the webinars we've done in the past, one of the things I've always tried to stress is that it's great that you're connecting with people, but obviously you have to go into your connections, and you want to put all your connections into folders, which are called tags. And you want to put 50 people in each folder, because that gives you the ability to come in here, select all contacts, select tag, which is the folder, select auto insurance potential clients, that's one of the folders we have. Then you can click select all and select message. Obviously at that point you can send those people in that folder a specific LinkedIn message. Most common question I've always got, Ken, why would I want to waste all that time doing that when I can just send a traditional email out to those people? And what I always try to say is yes, that's true. However, there's a much higher percentage chance that that LinkedIn message is going to be reviewed. It's going to be read. And I've done my own studies, and I find that if you send an email out, you usually get about 45% of the people reading it. If you send the same email out via LinkedIn's messaging tools, you usually get around 60 to 75% of the people reading it. So that increase in percentage is worth the extra time invested to utilize the service. So today what I want to go over is I just want to really go over having a concept, having a strategy. We want to get away from these kind of soliciting and these impulsive messages, come back to really thinking about what we're doing. We want to talk about including landing pages in the message. And most importantly, maybe we want to talk about doing webinars, promoting them on LinkedIn to then make the sale. So, I think I'll start off with a question I always get, and I don't have it on this PowerPoint, and that question is Ken, who should I connect with on LinkedIn? I get 3 or 4 requests a day, and, I'm not sure if I should accept these connections. Should I reject these connections? What should I do? My answer is accept every connection, okay? Because at the end of the day, you have to think about connecting with people as really a communicational hallway, right? Once you've connected with them, you can then really communicate with them. You may say, well, Ken, I don't want to communicate with them. They work for the insurance carrier. They're a competitor. I don't have any need to communicate with them. My suggestion would be you never know. You never know in this industry if you need to talk to those people. Hey, you may be selling your agency. You may become some sort of FMO for some product, and you need agents under you. Who knows where it goes over the next 10 years, right? So in my opinion, the agent that's smart, he's connecting with all these people, even if they're competitors, and he's going into LinkedIn, and he's creating all of these folders called tags. And yeah, maybe a few of those folders are called competitors, and you put those people there. But my point is connecting with people is the key to communicating with them. And in my opinion, there's no such thing as a bad connection. I mean, what's the worst thing that happens after you connected with them? Nothing. You just have the ability to message them. So to answer that question, you want to connect with everyone. You want to make sure, obviously, that you're organizing your connections. Then it comes down to using the messaging tools. And again, we want to use them because it gives us a higher percentage chance of getting our message read, but we don't want to abuse the tool. So in my opinion, you don't really want to be sending messages to people more than maybe once a month. I think that's the maximum. If they're your clients and you're using it for education, maybe twice a month, but I wouldn't abuse it. I think that this thing can become powerful. Obviously, you don't want to abuse or oversaturate it. So there's kind of 2 types of strategy you may want to implement when sending out messages. 1, you're going to try to generate leads. 2, you're going to try to educate your clients on things occurring in the industry. So those are the two types of messages you may send out. Obviously, you want to make sure your message is targeted. Well, what does that mean? What that means is if you have all these folders, and hopefully you've gone in and been diligent. You've created a folder for business owners. You've created a folder for health insurance clients, commercial clients, life clients. You've got it down to where it's organized, and you can go in and say, oh, I have this really good update on things changing in the flood insurance world. Obviously there's a lot of legislative things occurring right now. Maybe you want to send out an update to all these people who have homeowners insurance through you. You go into your homeowners insurance clients, and you can then pull up those folders and send out that type of message. Obviously, the message should be short and simple. My rule of thumb is 2 paragraphs is probably too much. You want to keep it 4 to 6 sentences, no more. And if possible, if you're trying to do a lead generational type email, it's got to have some call to action. Just putting in the message, email me, call me, it's not going to obviously get the job done. Few questions coming in, guys. It is hard for me to do it and read the questions at the same time, but some of them are good. First question: this is for the free version of LinkedIn. I never sit here and try to teach you guys how to use the pay version. I don't believe in the pay version. I don't think there's any value in it other than if you're looking for a job. So again, this is for the free version. If you're not familiar with the overall view of the messaging system, just shoot me an email to remind me. I'd be happy to send you I'll send you a link to one of the past webinars we've done over the last few weeks where I kind of went through the nitty-gritty of how to physically send out the message. I'd be happy to send that to you. So when you're putting together a message, and here's an example of just something I kind of whipped up. This is a message for health insurance, okay? And here's an example of something we were kind of working on. I was working on with a client in California. Just says, hey, look, if you're frustrated by the choices on Coverage California, then we suggest you visit our private insurance exchange. There you can view all of the off-exchange plans available. Click here to view the exchange. And if they clicked on it, like something like this opened up. And this is just a private exchange we've created for one of our clients. And my point is this. My point is that that's the type of message you're going to be successful with. You have to really tell people what the point of it is, what they get, and then boom, give them a link to get there. Assuming people are going to be proactive and they're going to call you and do all that stuff is very unlikely. So that's what I would call a lead generational website. But one of the things that has evolved really in the last 2 years, and I know a few of you guys use this stuff, is the online webinar, the online training has become, it's really revolutionizing the insurance industry. So one of the things I suggest, and obviously I've been very successful with this model, is when you're sending out these messages, and let's just kind of take this Coverage California. I know a lot of you guys don't sell health insurance, but just use this as an example. In this message's strategy was to kind of drive the people to the website where then they can go and maybe try to quote and see if it's cheaper. And there's a lot of what ifs, and it's complicated. Maybe a better strategy is to say, hey, look, are you frustrated by the plans on the insurance exchange? Well, there's a lot of other plans off the exchange, and there's a lot of other solutions with critical illness and there's a lot of, there's a lot of Obamacare alternatives out there. I'm offering a webinar this week on Tuesday and Thursday where it's going to be a quick 10-minute webinar where I'll review how these alternatives could save you money and time. Click below to register. And I guess what I'm saying, guys, is I think everyone understands the power of doing these online webinars because it's easy. The consumer doesn't physically have to talk to you, so maybe they don't know you. There's a sense of safety for them. And I guess my point is it's a great opportunity for you to project yourself as an expert on these plans, and there's no obligation from them. All they have to do is watch. And I'm pretty confident that if you do a good job and you explain it clearly, and most importantly, you keep it quick, they're going to call you up and say, hey, look, I'm interested in that. So my point is that LinkedIn messaging becomes the tool. It becomes the catalyst for marketing these webinars. If you just go onto email and you blast it out to your list, I'm telling you, you're looking at 30 to 40% of the people reading it. The reason we'd use LinkedIn's messaging tool is we can probably double the potential reads we get. If you have a good strategic message, you're going to increase your chance of getting clicks, getting reads, and that's what it's all about, I guess is my point. And I get so many questions from people saying, well, what should I message people? You know, I don't really have the answer, but I think my point is this can be your forum for getting people to pay attention to you. And most importantly, when you use these tools and when you do it correctly, make no mistake, you come across as an expert LinkedIn user. And people respect that because there's so many people using LinkedIn right now, probably 80% of them have no idea how it works. So just the fact that you've utilized the LinkedIn messaging tool, which in my opinion is an expert level tool, and you're executing trying to offer free training or trying to send them to a landing page, I think that comes across as powerful. Now, guys, make no mistake, and I mention this on every LinkedIn webinar I do, all of that sounds great, but if your profile isn't really set up at a high level, you're not going to get the conversions you want to get. So, common question, Ken, what did you just say? Here's what I just said. So you want to use LinkedIn's messaging tools to get leads, right? Well, the reality is any message you send out, most likely that person is going to go right back to your profile, and they're going to look at it and say, who is this guy, and what is he talking about? So my point is you want to make sure that your profile is set up really good. It's really professional. So when people do kind of do that background check on you, you check out as good. You know, and that's one of the things I've really always worked hard on is my summary, having some PowerPoints and videos that explain how I help people. Obviously, I have all sorts of recommendations. I have all sorts of endorsements from hundreds of people. You know, that's all done strategically. That's done so that when people do come check me out, they say, okay, maybe this guy Ken is legitimate. Maybe he knows what he's talking about, and he's worth 10 minutes of my time giving him a call. It's no different for you and your agency. You know, you want to position yourself as credible, as the expert, as someone that someone's going to, you know, want to talk to, because maybe you do have a solution they don't know about. So my point is that LinkedIn's messaging tools are great. You don't want to abuse them. You want to have a thought process. You know, the rule of thumb I've always gone by is if you come up with an idea that day, you probably don't want to message it out. You know, there needs to be, you know, a thought process, an evolutionary thought process over a few days before you actually execute the final deal. Very rarely do I ever come up with an idea and execute it within an hour. No way. That always equals bad results. You always want to kind of come up with the idea. So maybe the idea is you're going to do some sort of training on, you know, restaurant owners, risk management things to look out for. I don't know. You come up with that idea, you think about it, you sleep on it, the next day you kind of fine-tune it, and then you come up with the dates, you go and set up a webinar, and then you message it out 3 days later. My point is there should be a long-term kind of thought process in the concept. All right, guys, I do see a few people kind of emailing me about some of these other webinars we've done on the messaging. Go ahead. Shoot me an email just to remind me. I'll send you some older YouTubes you can rewatch. But, you know, at the end of the day, if you go to your profile and click on this little envelope here, I mean, that, and then you click on compose message, I mean, that's the kind of the basic thing where you can easily go in and send out a message. It's very much like an email. But again, there's a little bit more complexity than that. So appreciate your time today. Hopefully this was helpful, and I'll talk to everyone next week. Thanks again. Bye-bye.